and welcome back to Coffee with the Wolves. As always, I'm Damian Dennis, and this week I'm joined by Coach Jeff DeGraw. Jeff, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am tired, very tired. I've
Yeah.
got my coffee over here off screen.
Well, it's Coffee with the Wolves. You got to have coffee,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
I
you know,
had mine this morning,
yeah,
real early.
yeah. I went to go make coffee this morning, and realized we're out. All we had was decaf. I'm like, what? That
Well,
defeats
that's not
the
going to do you any
yeah.
good.
So I kind of waited until I left to come here to get coffee, and I stopped at Dunkin' to grab it.
Making their pockets richer.
Yeah, yeah, especially with how much their cold brew costs.
Oh, yes.
Anyway, we're here to talk a little bit about cross country, kind of catch up where you're at in the season, but we can start with you have a week off. How does that feel?
Good. We'll have a pretty good practice tomorrow on Friday. But I'll give them not necessarily the weekend off, but we won't have an organized practice, and they'll have. And that's a nice break. It's nice to have a week off here and there during the season because you just can't keep hammering the whole time.
Yeah. When was so? I think you originally had a meet this week. Did it get rescheduled or changed?
Yeah, it just the date switched.
Yeah.
Just became a week later. We're going to Olivet Nazarene at the Aspen Ridge Golf Course down there. We go to this meet every year.
So you're at some point you're kind of planning to have a week off. It just came earlier.
Correct. If we wouldn't have had it, next week would have been the week off.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
How important is kind of like that time off in the middle of the season for the athletes? There's a lot of running, a lot of distance. To me, that sounds daunting. But as the coach, is there any sort of benefit they get out of having a week off in the middle of the season?
I think it's mental. Because every time you go to a race, you have to get mentally up, and there's only so many of those. I think in your body where you can mentally, because when you race, a coach can tell somebody, that we're going to take it easy this week, but we want to race.
Yeah.
No, if you're a competitor, you look at it as a race. You're running against other people, and you're going in there to try to do the best you can. If you don't want the kids to race, take a week off, do some harder stuff in practice, or you can simulate stuff, but still not have that mental. I call it, there's only so many races in your body. It's like taking your car to Costco, filling it with gas, and then every time you race, you're taking gas away from that tank.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to have gas at the end of the season left over for those big races.
Right.
You can't go keep filling up your tank because there's just not enough time in the season.
Yeah. So at this point, you've had two meets. This team, both of your teams, because you're men's and women's coach, two meets under the belt. How do you feel the team's improved over the first couple meets here?
I think from the first to the second meet, I saw a lot of improvement. However, we still haven't ran for either the men or women, our full team as of yet. That's just because of some nagging injuries. Maybe some people weren't ready to go yet. It's just, it's a matter, and we're still in September, so it doesn't matter right now. I'd rather see everybody get healthy because, you can be world beaters right now, but you have to be world beaters in November.
Yeah.
That's when it counts.
Yeah. Who are some of the student athletes that are kind of standing out to you at this point in the season?
Right now for the women, I think we have a really good top four that are really starting to come around, especially our number 4 runner, Allison Bohanek from Plainfield Central, and our number 3, Olivia Kicks. She went to Manuka High School, but she's been away from running for a couple of years.
Yeah.
So it's just going to take her some time to get back into it. But, she had a really good meet. Our first meet sort of didn't have as good as race the second one, but I think that's just, getting used to the routine and racing and getting back to everything. She'll be fine. Her workouts have been good. And then our top 2, Gabby Zid and Vivian Forte, both also from Manuka, they've looked really good. And, I think they're learning a lot about what it's like to race in college.
Yeah.
They were part of a great program in high school, but it's different in college because all of a sudden now, they're running against, they're freshmen, they're running against seniors, or it could even be fifth year people. So it's a little bit different, but they're learning and they've had some great workouts.
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned Olivia just because I remember when we did the season preview episode for cross country, you had mentioned how she was one of your runners who hasn't competed, in
Correct.
X amount of years and stuff. So it's good to kind of catch up a little bit on that. Kind of the same question, but for the men's side, who's standing out to you? And
Nathan Sarletti, he's a freshman from JCA. He's been our number one guy through the first two meets. And in fact, it was interesting. Our second meet last week at North Central, it was the first time we've raced 5 miles this year. Our first meet was 5,000 meters, and 5 miles is the standard race for us now throughout the season. And for freshmen, that is something different.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you're running 3 miles all your life in high school. Junior high, is a mile or two, and then you get to 3 miles. But all of a sudden, a jump up of 2 miles is quite different because, they're running their 3-mile race in college as fast or faster than they ever ran a high school race, and they still have 2 miles to go.
Yeah.
So they'll learn about that, and that's what Nathan, we talked last week, and he said he learned a lot about racing 5 miles. He just wanted to, see what it was like. Yeah. And that's the case for last week at North Central, we didn't have 3 of our top 6 runners race. Again, just being precaution, we had one who tweaked something at a workout, and I just didn't want to take a chance. Yeah. Not now, not in September. Now, if it was regionals or nationals, then you're going to we got to get you ready to go, but not in September.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. I want to talk a little bit. So after later in the show, we've got Alex Johnson coming up. He's fresh off a successful track season, won a couple national titles. How do you think he is doing in cross country so far?
I think some of those half milers like Alex, his brother Chris, and by the way, they're still hard. Even though they've been here, this will be their second year. Now we're in the second year, and it's still hard to tell them apart. Now, everybody on the team tells me, Coach, one has a longer face but it's still hard to tell them apart. even in practice, even for me, and I'm around them almost every day.
Yeah.
In high school it was easy because they had totally different hairstyles. Last year it was funny for the national meet. They both not quite shaved, but got short haircuts. Yeah. And you can't tell them apart. I mean, it's hard. Everybody on the team does, but we have fun with it. And I know some of the times, I'll tease people, okay, which one do I have here? That's the only way people are going to learn.
Yeah.
But they're doing fun. And Stephen Lundy, those 3 were part of the 4x8 relay that won last year at Outdoor Track Nationals. And, they're half milers who are running cross country. And I think, they're still learning and having that confidence. I know after the successful track season that all 3 of them had, especially Alex winning the national title in the 400, running 5 miles from the 400 is all of a sudden different again. Yeah. But that will help them. They're in contention to be, 6th to the 8th runners on the team in there, depending on where they're going to fit in. And a lot of that is really up to them. But it's going to help them tremendously for track, because their events in track are, there may be some surprises, a little bump up in a distance here or there or something like that. So it's going to be an interesting track season for them because they'll have, that's what helped. I honestly believe that's what helped Alex so much last year in running a 154 and winning the 400 championship with all the rounds and everything at nationals was his strength that he gained in cross country.
Yeah. So, Coach, what are your expectations as you move further into the season? We're halfway through September already. Next week, you you have the week off, going back into action next week. And then we hit October here in a few weeks, and you're making that push for the postseason. What are your expectations?
Just to have our best performances at regionals and nationals. Even so, more so at nationals and regionals. Although we do host regionals this year, and that will be at an interesting venue. Don't want to announce it yet. I have the final meeting on where it will be next week, but I think it's going to be an exciting regional meet, something that hasn't been done, I don't think, if ever, in our region. So it's going to be quite exciting. I think we're going to have a lot of people at our regional meet, and it'll be exciting for a lot of fans and the other teams. So that announcement will probably come next week after we have our final meeting with the host site. But, biggest thing for us, and I think for any team right now, stay healthy. Yeah. Get healthy and stay healthy, and just get the workouts geared to run your best in November.
Yeah. So I have one last question, and this is more exploratory for me. But you mentioned this surprise venue for the regional meet. We'll learn more about that apparently next week, or maybe next week. But I'm curious, and I don't know why I haven't asked this either last time you talked or now, but what are some of the courses you guys run? What are they like? Because you mentioned like it's going to be different, something that may have never been done. And I remembered the course that we had when I was in high school was muddy in the woods behind the football field. And I'm like, that's got to be a pain to run.
Yeah, well, most of them, like last week at North Central, we ran at St. James Forest Preserve, which was a really fast course, nice course, good footing. The next week at Olivet, we go to Aspen Ridge. It's on a golf course. When we go down to Greenville, that's in Hillsborough, the Hillsborough Country Club. So a lot of them are on golf courses, nice venues. Of course, you're always dependent on the weather.
Yeah.
If it rains, that could get muddy, and that's the muddy mess. But look outside right now. We actually need rain. Everything's turning really brown.
Yeah.
I haven't had to mow my grass much lately, which has been good because we mowed it a lot over the summer.
Yeah.
But it's so much just like any other outdoor sport. The cross country courses are nice, and the cross country course that I think that I know we're going to have. It's going to be a great viewing course, but it's also with some other things that are going on. So I think that's going to be, it's going to be pretty cool.
Cool. Well, Coach, I appreciate you joining me for Coffee with the Wolves. As always, we'll probably have you on again here in a few weeks, a month.
Oh, yeah.
Later in the season.
Yeah, we'll have to have, sometimes we should just have coffee with the Wolves and, talk about other stuff. Like I think Jaden Daniels is going to be the rookie quarterback, not Caleb Williams. But
hey, you know what? I could see that.
And we're not even going to mention my team's quarterback.
Yeah.
No. That could go down as the worst trade in NFL history.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Enough of that.
All right. Next up here on Coffee with the Wolves, we're going to have Alex Johnson. But, Coach, thanks again for joining me.
Okay, Damon. Thank you.
And next up here on Coffee with the Wolves, I am joined by Alex Johnson.
Hello.
How are you doing this morning, Alex?
I'm all right. Classes were good. It's a good day. Bright out. I'm excited.
Yeah. So we got you on. We're going to talk a little bit about cross country. We're going to flash back to last spring, your track season. You won a couple national titles there.
That's correct.
But I'm going to kind of have our viewers get to know you a little bit. Mm-hmm. So you're a sophomore here at JJC, and I want to just kind of ask you, what's your major here? What's your major, and why you decided to come to JJC?
So I'm an education major. That's going pretty well. Classes are fun. And then I decided to come to JJC mainly because of how cheap it is compared to other, colleges, universities. Also because track program is good. If they didn't have a track team, I probably wouldn't have gone here. Yeah. And also my coach DeGraw, he was like really firm on getting me and my brother onto the team. He would always text us like, "Hey, I'm popping out to your meet," and he put in a lot of effort for us.
He was out there hitting the pavement, so to speak, to recruit you guys. Your brother, you and him, both cross country and track athletes.
Yep.
That's
Hmm.
cool. Is it weird competing against each other?
It is. It is. Something that comes up a lot is like we find like security in each other during races. So like we think we're just not pushing each other at all. Or at least that's what some coaches will think.
Yeah.
And that's just a big issue. But competing with each other is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
There's a lot of trash talk that goes on. A lot of people, oh, your brother's gonna kick your butt today, something like that.
Yeah, that
Hmm.
it's got to be fun.
It gets annoying. It sure
Yeah.
can.
Annoying, but fun too.
Yeah.
I hope.
Don't let it get to you.
Yeah.
That's all I ask.
Um, so we're kind of in the middle of the cross country season here.
Mhm.
You've had 2 meets so far. Kind of walk me through a little bit of just where you think you're at so far in the season. I think you guys have a week off.
Yep.
Or,
No meet this week.
yeah.
Mhm.
So just kind of walk me where you think you're at yourself and maybe the team in general, and just kind of what your expectations are as you move deeper into the season.
So I would say my spot on the team, I'm not looking to go to nationals. I'm hoping I do. I got to put in that effort. I'm probably around 8 or 9. The team is really good. Like we have a very solid top 5, which are like the only scorers come nationals.
Yep.
So really positive outlook for nationals. Even though I might not go, a little upset about it. I won't let it get to me. Let's see. What else did you ask?
No, just your expectations for yourself and the team.
Expectations? So last season I didn't get under 30 minutes for the 5 mile.
Yeah.
So this year, hoping under 30 minutes, hopefully get close to 28, 20, 28, 30. Hoping.
Yeah.
Let's see. I think just the goal for this year is just make it to nationals.
Yeah.
Yeah, even as an alternate, that would be great.
What's the training like for you when it comes to cross country compared to track? Because again, you're a track athlete as well. I've asked Coach DeGraw this a bunch, both during track season and at the beginning of cross country. But there's certainly a difference in the way you kind of
Absolutely.
approach practices and whatnot. For you individually, what's that look like? And maybe even is your diet different between both seasons, that sort of thing?
So, practice-wise, it's extremely different. Here or during the season, cross country season, I'll be running like maybe 5 to 6 miles nearly daily, and then the workouts are significantly harder.
Yeah.
Like yesterday, we did a bunch of 1,000-meter runs. That was pretty hard, and so for me, I'm not that as good at cross country as I am at track.
Yeah.
So cross country, those practices are so much harder for me because there's more volume.
Yeah.
And then come track, the workouts are shorter, but they're like more intense. And I also run less distance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that difference between track and cross country, is there anything you take from cross country that you take to track and then vice versa?
So cross country to track, with having so much endurance built up, my event one of my better events, 800-meter dash, that one is let's see, I just have so much more endurance coming from cross country into track, and I think it gives me more of an edge.
Yeah.
And then track to cross country, can't say there's much going for me there because I have the whole summer to take it easy.
Yeah.
But I definitely get a good amount of speed coming from track.
Cool. You mentioned, you're hoping to make the national meet, whether it's as an alternate or actually, racing. But it's funny because you say that like, oh, I hope I do this, but you're also coming off 2 national championships in
That's
track.
true.
And again, you just talked about, there is a difference in the way you compete between the 2 sports. But to me, it's strange to hear you go, oh, I hope I make the meet, whereas you just won, an
Yeah.
individual title and the relay title. And I'm just kind of curious, that thought process, like, oh, I'm gonna win this, or like I did win this title, but
Yeah.
now I just kind of, hopefully I make
It's
it, but we'll
just,
see.
So cross country, I'm a lot less confident, I would say, because I just throughout my whole cross country career, I've just been kind of like that number 7 to 10 guy.
Yeah.
I've never really been like, oh, you gotta watch out for this guy. He's gonna give you a run for your money. But come track season, it's like, oh shoot, we're racing with Alex, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm just so much more confident come like 400 meters, 800 meters, because I'm just a better short distance runner, I would say. I'm definitely not a sprinter by any means, but like mid distance, it's like that's my cup of tea.
Yeah, I feel that. Well, I'm not a runner. I never was, but
Mhm.
like uh, very early in when I was young, I played football and the short distance stuff I could do, but you
Mhm.
start getting me into longer distance.
It's over.
Yeah. I'm actually probably a better runner now than I was in high school or
All right.
college.
All
And
right.
even then, I still don't. No.
Mhm.
But let's talk a little bit about those national titles. Individual and relay, don't
Mhm.
remember specifically off the top of my head. I
It's all
should
right.
probably have that information in front of me.
You're
But,
good.
what's it like to kind of win a national title, both, for yourself individually,
Mhm.
for your team, and then also representing JJC at the national level?
Oh man.
Three questions packed into one
Yeah.
there, really.
So I mean, of course, it feels great to win a national championship. It's like I've so it's not like I knew I was gonna get the championship, but I mean, I was extremely confident
Yeah.
that I would win it. I I don't know. I had a very good few weeks going into it, and to represent JJC, I mean, it's great.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know. It's a great feeling. It's hard to describe.
Yeah. That relay title you won,
Hmm.
you shared that, I believe, with your brother, right?
That is true. Our
And
4x8.
yeah, what's that like for you guys? Just being brothers and both being national champions.
that's the funny thing. Because I brought up the competition.
Yeah.
Going into it, everyone's like, Chris is gonna get you, man. Like he's gonna pop off. And when it came down to it, I was just really locked in, I would say.
Yeah.
And so as soon as I got the baton, I don't know, it was my first race of the national meet, and I felt great. So when I ran that, I ran like a 154, and that was the fastest on the relay, and it was awesome. That's all. I don't know.
Uh, do you hold it over your brother's head at all? That sounds a little weird to say,
No.
but that you also won that one
Yeah,
just
the
yourself.
400 meter.
Yeah.
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 Chris, he didn't have a great national experience, I would say. I don't know. There was a lot going on with him, I would say, and I never really. I mean, if it gets brought up, I'll definitely oh yeah, but you're not 400-meter national champion, are you? I actually talk about it a lot. I'm a big gloater like
Yeah.
that.
I feel that.
You're a national champion, you gotta let people know.
All in good fun.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Today, after practice, my coach was telling me that we have a good few runners who are like, "Oh, we're gonna get Alex this year," and I'm just like, "Well, they're not national champions, are they?" I mean, they don't run under 50 seconds in the 400, so I make sure to remind everybody,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm the top dog.
I like that. I like that. So won't take up too much more of your time here. I appreciate you joining me for Coffee with
Absolutely.
Wolves. What are you expecting? Out of your sophomore year here at JJC. You're
Mhm.
in the middle of cross country. You've got track coming up in the spring.
Mhm.
Actually, winter, I guess, because you guys did the
Indoor,
indoor.
yeah.
Yeah. So just kind of like your expectations for yourself,
Mhm.
both academically and athletically.
Academically, I'm looking to try to find a good college for education, hopefully, and then athletically, hopefully get recognized by some good teams, and that my education and athletics could like mesh well together.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for.
You hoping to compete at the next level?
Absolutely.
Cool. Track, I
Absolutely.
assume.
Yep. Cross country, I'll have to practice,
Yeah.
because I need that conditioning to run that 800.
Cool. Well, Alex, I appreciate you taking the time.
Mhm.
Love to have you back here on
I would,
Coffee with the Wolves.
absolutely.
If not during the cross country season, at the very
Mhm.
least, it'll definitely happen once we get to track. We'll talk more about the national championships you won
Yeah.
at that time. So, but yeah, thanks for joining me, and
Absolutely.
for